Hello everyone, and welcome to RadioCSIRT English Edition, your daily appointment with cybersecurity news. I'm Marc-Frédéric Gomez, your French cybersecurity voice for today's threat landscape. I hope you're doing well. Today is Saturday, December 27th, 2025, episode 63, broadcasting live from the Cathar lands in Occitanie, from France. Today's program focuses on a breaking news security segment, covering several major advisories recently published by CERT-FR and software vendors. We will begin with an overview of critical vulnerabilities in the Linux kernel, first affecting Ubuntu, impacted by 16 CVAs spread across 2022, 2024, and 2025. We will then examine Red Hat, affected by 13 vulnerabilities leading to security policy bypass and denial of service risks across multiple enterprise environments. We will then take an in-depth look at a CERT-FR advisory covering IBM products, revealing an exceptionally large number of vulnerabilities spanning more than 20 years. These include risks of remote code execution, denial of service, and data compromise, affecting DB2Big SQL, QRadar, Sterling Connect Direct, and WebSphere. We will also review a non-authenticated XSS vulnerability in Roundcube webmail, tracked as CVAE 2025-68461. This vulnerability was notably relayed by CERT Santé Français, impacts versions 1.5 and 1.6, and requires immediate updates for Internet Exposed Mail services. Finally, we will conclude with a high-impact vulnerability in MariaDB, affecting the MariaDB dump utility, which may allow arbitrary code execution via directory traversal flaw under certain conditions. This issue requires strict access control and prompt patching. A dense episode aimed at CERT, SOC, and field operations with a clear focus on real-world risks and remediation priorities. A critical vulnerability has just been published by Microsoft under the identifier CVE 2025-13699. This flaw affects the MariaDB dump utility of MariaDB, used to export databases. The issue is caused by improper validation of file paths, enabling a directory traversal attack. In practical terms, an attacker with local access and the ability to interact with the tool can force access to or writing in arbitrary file system locations. In certain scenarios, this weakness can lead to arbitrary code execution in the context of the user running MariaDB dump. The CVSS version 3.1 score is 7.0, rated high. The attack requires no prior elevated privileges, but does require user interaction and presents high attack complexity. Affected MariaDB versions notably include 10.6, 10.11, 11.4, and 11.8 when not patched. No active exploitation or public proof of concept has been reported so far. However, the risk is significant in environments where MariaDB dump is accessible to non-strictly controlled users, such as shared servers or automated backup pipelines. Immediate recommendations are clear: apply MariaDB security updates without delay, restrict access to the MariaDB dump utility, and monitor abnormal usage during database export operations. RadioCSIRT continues to monitor this vulnerability and will provide updates if exploitation indicators or public exploits emerge. CERT-FR has just published a security advisory referenced CERT-FR 2025 AVI 1139, addressing multiple vulnerabilities in the Ubuntu Linux kernel. This advisory is based on several Ubuntu security notices released on December 19, 2025, USN 7921-2, USN 7922-3, USN 7928-4, and USN 7931-4. The affected systems are Ubuntu 18.04 ESM, Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. According to the vendor, these vulnerabilities may allow an attacker to trigger an unspecified security issue. While the risk level is not explicitly stated, the direct impact on the Linux kernel implies a potentially high impact, depending on exposure and system usage. The CERT-FR advisory reports a significant number of vulnerabilities spread over several years. 2 vulnerabilities from 2022, 7 vulnerabilities identified in 2024, and 7 vulnerabilities disclosed in 2025. These vulnerabilities affect various internal kernel mechanisms, including memory management, input validation, and critical subsystems. Depending on the specific CVE, this may lead to privilege escalation, memory corruption, or denial of service. CERT-FR recommends immediate reference to the Ubuntu security notices in order to apply the corresponding Linux kernel security updates. No active exploitation has been reported at this stage. However, multi-user, exposed, or critical environments should be treated as a priority. CERT-FR has published a new security advisory referenced CERT-FR 2025 AVI 1141 concerning multiple vulnerabilities in the Red Hat Linux kernel. This advisory is based on several Red Hat security bulletins released on December 22, 2025. RHSI 2025:23789, RHSI 2025:23947, and RHSI 2025:23960. The affected systems cover a broad range of Red Hat Enterprise Linux environments, including multiple 9.6 releases under Extended Update Support, as well as Extended Lifecycle Support 7. These impacts span x86_64, ARM64, IBM Z systems, and Power architectures. Specialized environments, including ECP solutions in real time, are also impacted. According to CERT-FR, these vulnerabilities may allow an attacker to cause a security policy bypass, a denial of service, and an unspecified security issue. The advisory references a significant set of vulnerabilities distributed over several years: 5 vulnerabilities from 2022, 3 vulnerabilities identified in 2023, and 5 vulnerabilities disclosed in 2025. These issues affect various internal Linux kernel mechanisms, potentially leading to service disruptions, security policy violations, or broader impacts, depending on the exploitation context and available privileges. CERT-FR recommends immediate consultation of the Red Hat security bulletins to apply the corresponding Linux kernel patches across all affected systems. No active exploitation has been reported at this stage. However, exposed, critical, or compliance-sensitive environments should be treated as a priority. CERT-FR has published a security advisory referenced CERT-FR 2025 AVI 1137 concerning multiple vulnerabilities affecting several IBM products. This advisory is based on 10 IBM security bulletins released between December 19th and December 23rd, 2025. These bulletins cover a broad range of products, including DB2Big SQL, QRadar, UBA, Analyst Workflow, Network Threat Analytics, Sterling Connect Direct File Agent across multiple platforms, and WebSphere Service Registry and Repository with or without Studio. The identified risks are multiple and critical: remote arbitrary code execution, remote denial of service, data confidentiality and integrity breaches, security policy bypass, as well as unspecified security impacts. The CERT-FR advisory highlights a very large number of vulnerabilities distributed over an exceptionally long time span. 1 vulnerability from 2002, 15 vulnerabilities from 2015, 1 vulnerability from 2018, 1 vulnerability from 2020, 1 vulnerability from 2021, 4 vulnerabilities identified in 2022, 19 vulnerabilities disclosed in 2023, 10 vulnerabilities in 2024, and 21 vulnerabilities reported in 2025. This accumulation of CVEs, spanning more than 20 years, reflects a significant retroactive remediation effort, with potentially high impact in environments where these products are exposed, interconnected, or used in critical contexts. This is particularly relevant for SOC and SIEM infrastructures. CERT-FR recommends immediate consultation of the IBM security bulletins to accurately identify affected products and apply all available security patches. No active exploitation has been reported at this stage. However, given the presence of remote code execution vulnerabilities, critical, exposed, or regulated environments should be treated as an absolute priority. A new vulnerability has been disclosed affecting Roundcube webmail, identified as CVE 2025-68461, with a publication date of December 26, 2025. This information has notably been relayed by CERT-FR France as part of its cybersecurity monitoring activities. The flaw allows an unauthenticated attacker to inject malicious code through a cross-site scripting, or XSS, vulnerability. The injected code is executed directly in the victim's web browser, potentially leading to compromise of data confidentiality and integrity. This includes session theft, content manipulation, or unauthorized actions. The vulnerability is classified as CWE79, corresponding to improper neutralization of input during web page generation. From an exploitation perspective, the attack vector is network-based. The attack complexity is low, no privileges are required, no user interaction is necessary, and the exploit does not result in privilege escalation while remaining fully exploitable remotely. At this stage, no active exploitation has been observed. No public proof of concept is available, but an official patch is available. No workaround has been provided by the vendor. The affected versions are Roundcube version 1.5x prior to 1.5.12, Roundcube version 1.6x prior to 1.6.12. The recommendation is clear: update without delay to Roundcube 1.5.12, 1.6.12, or any later patched version. RadioCSIRT recommends high prioritization of this update for internet-exposed webmail services, particularly in multi-user environments. And that's it. This edition ends here. I hope it provided you with clear, accurate, and useful information. Until then, we don't think, we patch. If you are a new listener, feel free to subscribe to the RadioCSIRT podcast. RadioCSIRT is available in English, Italian, Spanish, and French. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Deezer, and Spotify. All open source intelligence links used in this episode are available on RadioCSIRT.com. See you tomorrow for a new episode. Take care. Goodbye.